So continuing on the pawn shop deals, in which the previous video, I got a laptop, went to a pawn shop, saw that they had a laptop for sale. It was the HP Victus. It had the Ryzen 5 6000 series, a RTX 3050, 16 gigs of DDR5, a 512 M.2. It was a great laptop, and I got it for $250 because it was in Spanish, and they could not figure out how to get it to English. So they wanted initially, I think it was like $500 for it. They said $300. I offered $250 as is. I assumed the risk on it, and I brought it back. So in that video, we were able to put a fresh copy of Windows. It was in English. The thing ran fantastic. Even with the RTX 3050, still gamed really well. So I wanted to keep it, but there was meat on the bone, folks. There was meat on the bone, and the longer you hold on to things, the less value they have. So I sold it, and I was actually to get more than I wanted. I put it on the Facebook Marketplace for $350. A seller was a buyer was going to come pick it up. Another one offered me $380, so I sold it for $380. They were happy with it, and I went back to the pawn shop. So while at the pawn shop, I saw this beauty right over here. The Asus Tough Gaming i5 10th gen. I think it has like a 1650 Ti. It's supposed to come with 8 gigs of DDR4 and a 256 M.2, but judging by the sticker and the specs, it has 16 gigs, so somebody updated this. They wanted initially, sticker right over here, $549, had no login, but we were able to bypass the login. But the pawn shop dude told me that it's come back 3 times, and they're at the point where they just want to get rid of it. So I asked, why has it come back 3 times? And I don't know if you can hear it. It is loud. So 3 previous buyers, they have bought it, and they bought it back for the same reason. They said that under load and even idle, this thing overheats, it starts lagging, it's just causing a bunch of issues on it. So I bought it. I offered them $100. I said, I'll give you $100 for it. I says, it could be something damaged, this, that, and the other. And the guy said, yeah, take it. And the reason why the pawn shops I'm finding they let this stuff go real cheap is because it costs them more money to send it out to a shop, and then it cuts into their profit margin. So probably a shop might charge $100 to go in, change the thermal paste, reprogram, do all that good stuff, and then, well, they're losing money. So for $100, I guess they must have gotten to this cheap, or they're just trying to recoup something better than nothing. So let's dive into it. Let's look at these temperatures, and let's see, for $100, did I get a great deal? So all I'm doing is watching a YouTube video, and the fans are going 100%. And if we look at our temperatures, 93 degrees Celsius. I'm not even gaming, I'm not even editing or doing anything like that. So that's pretty bad that it keeps spiking up. We're at 81, 72. The temps are horrible at these things. And like I've talked about in other videos, when you buy a laptop, typically the issue that I find is that even brand new ones, they use cheap thermal paste. And if you pop in some fresh thermal paste on it, you can usually get a couple of degrees difference. In this case, I'm hoping fresh thermal paste, considering this laptop is maybe a year or 2. I'm not sure. I'll put that on the screen depending on when this got released. We could probably bring this down significantly, make it quieter, make it more reliable, and make it a good daily laptop. My plans for this is, well, I'm going to make it mine. The other laptop, I made $120 profit. I bought this for $100, so $100 for a decent laptop for me for traveling will work. And plus I made $20 profit, so I guess that covers my gas. So these are our temperatures. Let's notate them. And that's just on idle, and then of course just watching a YouTube video, it goes up significantly more. So let's open it up. We are going to upgrade the storage. It has 256. I'm actually going to pop in this 512. This is a kit that I got from PNY. This is not the solid state drive or M.2 drive that I got from it, but they give you a Cronus True Image with it, with a license, and it was at Walmart, and they were selling it for like for 500 gig. It was like $20, but this has been awesome. I've been using this to clone M.2s. I've already cloned the image on this because this is a fresh wipe already from day one. That way we'll have more storage, and I don't have to go ahead and reinstall Windows and the activation, all that stuff. So that's going to be a lot easier. So let's shut this thing down, and let's take a look at this thermal paste. Now, typically when I'm working on my laptops, game consoles, any type of computer type stuff, I use the iFixit toolkit. Been using that for years. It's been fantastic. But a company reached out to me. I think they're called SEQURE, not sure. But they said, hey, give us a shot, see if it's pretty good, what you think about it. So we're going to do a review of this while we're working on this laptop, see how well it works. And yeah, this might be my new daily driver. One of the things that really fascinated me about it, and which I enjoy with my Craftsman screwdriver, is that it has the power, and the power is good. Makes things a little faster. So this has the same thing. The battery life is supposed to be about 4 hours. It has 6 different torque setting speeds, so you can adjust it to need be to make sure that you don't over tighten the screws and break things. Power just like so. Oh, I shut it down. Let's power it on. And these things last about 4 hours according to the specs on it. But yeah, you got a bunch of your bits. You got the security ones, the Torx, all that type of good stuff. Typically everything that you would need. I like this because you can magnetize and demagnetize your bits. So it comes with that. It has the destructions, which you use the QR code for that. So, you know, that's a thing. And our USB Type-C charger, which is what I like. My Craftsman one, I hate the fact that it's not USB Type-C, but it is what it is. So let's use this. Let's give it a shot and let's see how well it works. All right, so this is it. Let's take a look at what bit we might need. How did these come out? Okay. So they come out just like so. We'll organize that later. This is a PH0, which might be the one for it. Efficient. It is magnetized, which I like, so you can rub up against here just to make it extra magnetized, but also you can demagnetize it, so you know, that's a thing. So I'm finding the best way to use it is just to kind of loosen it and then hit the unscrew button. I guess that's the right way to do it. But so far, not too bad. And what I like is it has a light. So notating that in the bottom it has smaller screws. Ooh. Maybe somebody mixed up all these screws because that was different. Now we use a spudger tool, separate this, pull it nice and easy. Bingo. And what I'm mostly looking for is dust buildup on the vents, but they seem to be okay. So now the first thing we want to do is disconnect this battery, because you don't want this thing turning on or creating unnecessary shorts. That would not be good. And I think I'm just going to disconnect it all together. I think I'm using the wrong bit. Let's try the one. The one's probably going to be a lot better. Yep. Got another screw right over here. Yep. 0 is not the way to go. That's the perfect time to check the battery. Make sure it's not swollen. This battery looks good. I've already done testing with charging, so it's all good. As you can see from our memory, this is a 16 gig kit from G-Skill. 3200. So 2 8s. Definitely not factory, so they upgraded it. The specs call for one single 8 gig. I got a laptop and it only has like 8 gigs, but then again I've seen it with 16 gigs. Make sure you know, use the dual channel action. Now you can put 2 M.2s in here. One 512 is more than enough for what I'm going to need it for. So this could come off right over here. I guess this is like a heatsink shield. And that 256 gig, I'll repurpose it for another project. Let's go ahead and pop this right in here just like so. Pop you on here. Feels like a piece of aluminum maybe, but if that's what it calls for, that's what I'm going to use. So now this has the warranty sticker, which, you know, they don't want you messing with that, but it's mine's, and I'm gonna do what I want. These are not capture ones, so make sure you don't lose them. And so far this thing is working actually pretty good. So the trick I'm learning is you loosen it, then tighten it, well then unscrew it with the button, and it works. And as you can see, our thermal paste is dry as a bone, even the one on these memory chips, or not memory chips, whatever you call those, for the power type stuff. Yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and just clean this stuff up. I mean, the contacts seem pretty bad on it, but I'm fairly confident this should help improve our overheating issue. And if not, I wasted $100, folks. That's the gamble. Now we're gonna clean this up just like so. Man, a little tough on there. Now this stuff right over here is thermal putty, and well, it looks like it's seen better days. I do have some thermal putty that I've been using recently, and I think that's exactly what I'm going to use is first thermal putty. So unfortunately, a lot of work off camera. And the reason being is, well, the battery died. So I have the thermal putty all spread where it needs to be. This is what I've been using. It's been working great. I haven't had no issue. I've done a couple of laptops and graphics cards with it. Siren thermal putty. It's cheap. It works pretty good. And I mean, we're not going for overclocking. We're just going for better than what it was. So I'll put a link in the description in case you folks are interested. So we got a thermal paste. And for the thermal paste, I'm trying this. I got it at the local computer shop, Silver Knights PC. Fuse Ice Plus thermal paste. They raved about it, so I figure I'd give it a shot. I usually use the thermal, not the thermal, the Arctic 6, but we could try something new. So let's pop this thing on. And a suggestion, a tip I always give that if you're going to replace the thermal paste on your laptop, you see these little pins over here, bend them up a little bit, and it puts a little more tension when you go to screw this thing down. I've actually seen a little bit of performance gains. I've actually seen improvements with issues on that. So just a little tip I've always done that I have found to be, well, to work good. So let's get this thing back in. Push down just like so. And let's put all 287 screws in, because, you know, we just have a lot. And these things are numbered. Okay, so it has auto shutdown. Learn something new. Battery saving, folks. That's good. So I have it on torque setting number 6, and that seems to be perfect. Now I will say this, using this takes a little getting used to, because you gotta pop it in, just turn it. And if you don't do it that way, it goes in weird directions. But once you get used to it, this thing actually works pretty good. So it takes a little getting used to. But so far I will say I'm pretty happy with it, and I'll give more thoughts at the end. Setting 6, and these things are snug. Pretty cool. So let me finish putting this back together, and we'll check the temps. Alright, put back together. Let's fire it up. Fires right up. It should pick up the new drive without issue. It's just a clone. And now we'll have double the space, which is a good thing. But the biggest thing that we're checking to see is, are temperatures better? And so far, I will say this. The fans are not ramping up, and typically they ramp up like 100% just doing this. So we might be off to a good start. Let me let it do its wonky Windows updates, because Windows just loves to update. And we'll come right back. So it's a while later and it's still doing updates, but I figure let's take off this G-Skill sticker. Not a fan of it. I mean, it's good memory, but I really don't want that on there. Now I got that remnants of that plus that, so let's kind of make this thing look good, you know, make it home style. I would say domesticating my laptop. It's a little savaged. Just put a little bit of that on there, same thing over here. Let it soak up. And this is using a plastic razor. If you're gonna do this, plastic razor only, folks. And that thing is stuck, so let's just do it this way. Easy. Get some of that in there more. Now, if I'm being honest with you, I don't like having these stickers. Some people keep them on. I take them off. We don't need to advertise what we have. Top secret, undercover. Intel Core i5. Same thing. And that's just Goo Gone, in case I didn't mention. And a microfiber towel just to kind of rub that in, get that out. We'll just keep rubbing this stuff out just to make it better-ish. Now the keyboard and the screen is dirty, but we'll clean that when everything's off. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I'm not a fan of those stickers. If you are, comment down below, let me know. I mean, do you keep them on? Do you get rid of them? I typically do. Now, it's still ramping up, but it could also be that it might need a firmware update. But let's just install hardware info, hardware monitor, or whatever it's called. So we have improvements. Not the improvements I was hoping for, but still significant improvements. So our temps, doing the same thing I did before, just opening up and watching a YouTube video, and even on idle, it spiked up to 85 while just running the internet, which is a lot better because if you looked in the previous video, it was at 93. And then in the beginning, when I had this laptop and I had all that bloatware, it was just spiking up to 96. So we did get an improvement. Now, I have found with these laptops that typically firmware updates, software updates, this thing is just fresh. So we might need to just do some BIOS updates, firmware update, and I think we can get this thing a bit quieter and more consistent. But considering that we haven't spiked over 85 and we're at 93, we're doing pretty good. So let's do some updates and I'll report. So an hour later of Windows updates, BIOS updates, folks, we got significant improvement. Check this out. 55 degrees Celsius. Still doing the same thing I was doing before, a 30-degree drop. Apparently there's a BIOS update for this that's supposed to help with stability and all that type of stuff, which is flipping awesome. And drivers as well, so I would say that BIOS updates, drivers updates for the win, along with the thermal paste. Now the thermal paste granted us about 7-degree difference, but just updating the BIOS, firmware, and just getting this thing with the most recent drivers, that's a 30-degree difference, and I've been running this for about 20 minutes since all that, and the fans are so much quieter. This is way better to use, and steal of a deal for $100 and maybe an hour, 2 hours worth of work. I have a laptop, and because of the other laptop, I sold it, made some profit. This was free. Awesome. So let's wrap this up and give you my thoughts. All right, so just running it another 30 minutes, just doing the same thing. 60 degrees Celsius is the highest it's climbed up to, which is flipping awesome. And for $100, that is a great deal. To kind of wrap up this video, pawn shops can be a secret. Now, not all pawn shops are the way. Some of them have their own techs on site that do all that stuff. I have a couple in my area where they have their own techs and they're able to fix it in-house and they get paid their salary. But a lot of the small ones that don't, This could be the way to go to pick up a lot of good stuff. The one that I go to, they don't have an in-house tech. They sell it as is. They kind of take the risk on that, and then when they realize, oh man, this thing is broken, they sell it cheap. A guy like me comes in, offers some low dollars because they can fix it, and this is the way to make a profit. So I like pawn shops, and that's a lot of things, and that's one of the things that I do is I check them out, and you never know, you might get a great deal. So this is going to be my new daily driver. I'm excited to have it in the collection, especially for $100, and well, considering the profit, it was free, just minus my labor. And moving on to this, the SEQURE screwdriver. This thing is flipping awesome. Now it's about $50 on Amazon. I'll post links down below. I do recommend it. Very convenient. Yes, I know it's a kind of a lazy man's tool, but it helps. It's efficient, works really good. A lot of different bits and drivers, comes with a lot of great stuff. Charging is probably like 30 minutes, 4 hours of usage, and I've really enjoyed it. Now compared to the iFixit toolkit, yes, you get more with it, the spudgers, the prying tools, and all that stuff, but for speed, portability, and just, I don't know, convenience, I like it. It definitely gets my recommended, so definitely check it out. So comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. Pawn shops, do you really think that you can get a good deal out of it? What is your experience with pawn shops in your area? And what do you think of the screwdriver? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.